I seen the devil, he said you women, you need saving and listen to this seat. Follow him home, cut the right corner so nobody sees you. Turn off your phone, live it at home so nobody can trace you. Ask for expressions, prepare to be calm, they won't read your intentions. As soon as you're in, let them all know they're all in the presence of I am a murderer, I am a demon, the son of a serpent. I am a murderer, I am a demon, the son of a serpent. I am a murderer, I am a demon, the son of a serpent. I am a murderer, I am a demon, the son of a serpent. Look at the freaking tempest, it's to yo, but in my arms, you will just like a baby, she drunk, yo. Peace, peace. Bo the Sun Moon, Brother Bridge. Thanks for tuning in. Saying we're gonna get into it. The gods within. I'm saying it's pretty much self-explanatory. Feel me? Let's go ahead and start. If anybody has any questions or anything during the video, I'm saying I'll be periodically checking the comments, so I'm saying I'll be able to answer any questions anybody may have. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Okay. So the gods within, we're gonna be reading from The Magician. And once again, if you don't have this PDF, which I definitely suggest that everybody get this PDF because it's highly valuable, it's real practical. I'm saying it works, it gets results. Also, I want to introduce the 2-week relaxation challenge where I'm saying I want to challenge everybody to do the relaxation exercise that we did in the 2 videos back. I forgot the title of that video, but it's pretty much the relaxation technique. Take 15 minutes out of your day to go into a place where you will not be disturbed and lay on the floor, not on the bed, somewhere mildly uncomfortable, so it will force your body to become comfortable, because if the body is relaxed, then the mind is relaxed. I'm saying, and laying on the floor uncomfortably, your body will have to adjust itself to become comfortable. It's really effective. Do this for about 15 minutes every day, or 30 minutes every day, but 15 minutes is suffice. You're going to notice that a lot of your anxieties, a lot of your little aches and pains, chronic pains, a lot of your little ailments will start to disappear. The reason for this relaxation technique is to learn how to calm the mind, to leave your conscious or mundane thoughts outside of your temple. So it's real vital. It's real vital. So you would lay on the floor and you would just, me personally, I listen to my breathing. I listen to the sound of the breath in my head. The sound of my breath in my head, it kind of resembles, it sounds like fire burning. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Osaru Ali Melbey told us that the breath is the spirit inside of the body. The same way light inside of the pineal is spirit inside of the pineal. So, you know, it's really important. And I challenge y'all to do this 2-week relaxation exercise with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm be tuning in, you know what I'm saying, and I'm be keeping a tab on y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's really important, man, because peace equals power. You're not going to be able to manifest or conjure anything if you're stressed out, worried, thinking about mundane shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to go into your temple, clear-headed. You know what I'm saying? So the way you clear your mind from mundane thoughts is with this relaxation technique. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into this. The gods within. We will now discuss the gods and their relationship to humans. Who are the gods? What are they? Yes, we must continue to question everything, even God. There is a good reason for this, as you will see. In magic and in life itself, anything that will not stand up to questioning is highly suspect. In magic and in life itself, anything that will not stand up to questioning is highly suspect. Just like we said, for something to be true, it has to be true universally. It has to be true on the spiritual plane, emotional plane, mental plane, and ultimately the physical plane. I'm saying that's what makes something absolute, something true. Everything else is just temporary, an illusion. Now, in magic and in life itself, anything that would not stand up to questioning is highly suspect. And if it will not yield answers, it should be either avoided or scrapped. As we rapidly approach the new era of Aquarius, all ideas, religions, and philosophies will be reviewed. So, you know, we've been hearing about the age of Aquarius. That's the age of knowing. You know what I'm saying? So we've actually entered that age on the end of the Mayan calendar. It said the end of the world would be 2012, and the end of the world that our ancestors, the Olmecs, were speaking of, the Tamo Ankan people, or the Olmecs, what they were speaking of was the ending of an age, of an eon, you know what I'm saying, of the world, and the new world would begin, the age of Aquarius. There's something called a great calendar year, where every 26,000 years you enter a new house of the zodiac. So that's what took place in 2012, and that's what the Mayan calendar was predicting when they mentioned the end of the world. The age of Aquarius, where all ideas, religions, and philosophies will be reviewed, and those which are of no further value will be left behind, because the age of Aquarius is the age of knowing. The age of Pisces, which we just left, was the age of belief. All right. You can see this happening already. People are beginning to question, and the established dogmas are having to cope with this. Dogmas are doctrines or rules, religious rules. You know what I'm saying? So the established religious rules are having to cope with this. You know what I'm saying? The religious orders. No longer can we hide behind the usual phrase, it is God's will. So what is God's will? What is God? There have been many gods since people began to search for reality. Perhaps we ought to review some of these. First came the old gods, beloved of Wicca and the old religionists. It's real interesting when you watch the show American Gods. In the beginning of each episode, they show ancient gods and how they were worshipped, and exactly what happened to these ancient gods. Like the very first episode, it was this Viking god, and it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should really check out that show, American Gods. Art imitates life. You know what I'm saying? So those ideas and concepts that are in that show, it's coming from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's just real interesting, especially in the beginning when you see the old gods that were worshipped and how today they ended up to be like non-existent, replaced by new gods. And pretty much the premise of the show is gods that we have been worshiping for the past numerous millennium.
they're now becoming obsolete to new gods, which are technology, media, and worldview, if I'm not mistaken. Worldview. Yeah, Mr. World. Like the social consciousness, you know, worldview, political correctness, and all that type of shit. All right. First came the old gods, beloved of Wicca and the old religionists. These are literally as old as the hills and pretty fearsome and diverse they are too. Many of these stem from Celtic origin. Well, you know, Celtic origin stems from Ethiopia or Kush. You know what I'm saying? It comes from Kemet, but the root of all of this is Kush, because Kemet is the niece of Kush. Kemet is the niece of Kush. Pardon me, y'all. All right. So many of these stem from Celtic origin, like the original horned god, which was Amun. You know what I'm saying? Gwyn Ap Nude. That's the original horn god of Celtic origin. I'm saying I also have a video that goes into the meaning of the horn gods. All right. Gwyn Ap Nude is the name of this horn god, original Celtic horn god, who is said to have ruled the dark period of Glastonbury tour. Have you ever wondered why people love to worship horn gods? These old gods seem to be terrifying creatures whose sole aim is to put us in our place and keep us there. However, this is not for the real function of these creatures. It only seems to be this way. If you wanted to protect something really valuable without involving massive security systems and untold expense, what is the best way to do this? Quite simple. Play on the superstition and the unknown. And I'm saying that goes back to see, this book is really helpful, but this book is still written by an Albion. You know what I'm saying? The reason I say Albion is because we can't say European. We are the original Europeans. We can't say albinos because we have melanated. Let me say this. We have kinky haired albinos. So these individuals are of a different nature. So I noticed that the Moors refer to them as Albion. That's why I'm referring to them as Albions. Okay. So when we speak about the Albion, this is a whole different way of thinking. We're talking about a scarcity mindset. So now it's talking about the reason for these horn gods was for protection of sacred places. So they would use these horn gods to play on fear. Now, in the 48 Laws of Power, it talks about it actually defines power as the art of deception. So in this book right here, it's letting you know that in the Celtic religion, once in the Celtic region, which is Ireland, it seems that once these serpents, which are the Kundalini people, the black people were chased out of Ireland, their system, their technology, which is this magic, it was used for deception purposes. Also magic and, you know, conjuring and possibly inner light work. But ultimately, it's saying in this book, the magician, that they use these deities as a purpose to deceive, to protect their sacred grounds. So let's move on. The would-be intruders would then either give up or inevitably harm themselves in some strange way. The ancient Egyptians were masters of this. In order to preserve the tombs of their kings, they invented the most frightening stories of curses. Now, what about the mythological figures like the gods of the Greeks? Myths are important. They invariably contain more than a grain of truth. Myths are stories. Myths are examinations of energies. Okay, as we said, energies move in patterns. Myths are the examination of energies, and these energies have been given names, personalities, traits, so that we can better examine and come to understand these energies, the patterns of these energies. Once we're able to do that, we're able to see the patterns of these energies playing out in our everyday lives. We'll be able to pinpoint these energies in people that we interact with and in events that we are faced with. You'll even be able to see what mythology you are living out ultimately down here, because we're all living out a mythology. It's what we signed up for. It's why we're here. Myths are very important. They contain more than a grain of truth. These gods are not meant to be worshipped as such. Rather, they are the epitome of an idea or a valid principle, as we just said. So gods, deities, spirits, demons, angels are advanced ways of thinking, advanced thoughts, advanced thought forms that we can manipulate. We can invoke and manipulate. We can use this to our advantage. If we're not aware of our creation power, we create thought forms that I don't want to say they manipulate us, but we create thought forms that are running rampant, out of control. If you don't have control of yourselves, like me, I was out of control in my youth. So I gave control over to the Department of Corrections. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have control of myself, so I gave them control. Also, your five senses are symbolic of Set, which is also your ego or your conscious mind. And when your five senses, your emotions or your conscious mind is out of control, these thought forms, these emotions create thought forms which don't work for you. They have you blowing around in the wind like a piece of paper, like a shopping bag blowing in the wind. And I'm saying most of us know what that feels like, feeling helpless in this lifetime, just accepting whatever fate is handed to you. And I'm saying, as we said, peace equals power. So once you're able to control your emotions, control your thoughts, and I'm saying, especially through this relaxation technique, and I'm saying, once you're able to do this, once you're in control of yourself, you're in control of everything around you, everything outside of you, just from being able to control what's inside of you. All right. In any philosophy, there has to be order or some sort of system by which things are categorized, compared, or examined. The Greek gods, their escapades, their qualities are ways of describing energy patterns and interactions. For instance, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, which is Thoth, patron of the magical sciences and of medicine, notice the manner of action, quick darting here and there, carrying messages. Hermes represents the mysteries attributed to the planet Mercury. Before we go any further, do not make the mistake of thinking that the planet Mercury rules anything. It does not. The planetary system is used to categorize cosmic energy, to put it into convenient compartments so that it can be studied, compared, and eventually understood. Any astrologer does this by noting the planetary positions at birth. So for the astrologers out there, y'all already know this. And I'm saying that by examining the celestial movements at the time of someone's birth, at the time of someone's conception, you're more or less able to recognize the mythology or the purpose that this individual has incarnated here. Because as above, so below. I'm saying when you're looking at the celestial movements, you're actually looking at what's going on inside of your skull. You're actually looking at energy patterns that are being played out on the earth as well. I'm saying, and that's what our ancestors knew. And I'm saying these days, we no longer look to the stars, we look to the stars in Hollywood. I'm saying, and that's what has us fucked up. I'm saying people are looking for guidance from the false stars. I'm saying, calling them role models and such. Crazy. The planetary system, oh, I already read that, pardon me. All right. Certain distinctions can be made. Trends deduced, potential revealed, and so on. Planets become a convenient focus for attention. In other words, a filing system. Creation is very complex, and it is necessary to divide it up into smaller areas in order to understand its complexities and to make use of its energies. Could you describe creation in a few sentences and explain why such and such occurs in the way that it does? An impossible task as it stands. Use some scheme that categorizes things, and you stand a much better chance of understanding the whole. Here is an example. Suppose that you just suddenly appear on planet Earth, right in the middle of a farmyard. You have no idea what all this means. You have never seen anything like it before. How do you describe this to someone after you return home? The first thing you do is to break it down into convenient groups of similarity. For instance, those brown things with horns, 4 legs, and a tail, let us name them cows. Okay. A paragraph back, it spoke about the horn god, the original horn god of Celtic origin. Now, a lot of people, there's a lot of white dark magicians that they say that the origins of civilization is in Ireland. Whatever. And it said that, you know, talking of that, the horn god that they worship, the origin of the horn god in Ireland. However, the original horn god in Kemet, and also which ultimately came from Kush, was the cow god, Hathor, because Hathor is the mother principle, the nurturing principle of the mother with the milk. I'm saying the nursing milk that milks babies. I'm saying also the Milky Way. I'm saying where all souls go to. I'm saying, so it's just funny how they mention the cow later on when you come to Earth, and the first thing that you end up on a farm, and they mention the cow. There's no such thing as coincidence. Now, nearby are some other creatures, smaller, with 4 legs and covered with thick wool. Let us name these sheep. Oh shit, sheep. The sheeple. Right away, we can start to establish facts. Okay? facts. Now remember, 2 videos ago, we learned how to transcend the facts. We learned how to write our own code down here. All right. So now right away, we can start to establish facts. Cows are similar to sheep. Sheep are smaller and cows have no wool, though sheep do, and so on. So it's teaching you, it's really talking about, you know, categorization, and it's using this example to explain why certain attributes have been given to planets and deities, spirits, energies, and so forth. It's a system, it's a categorizing system of understanding. You know what I'm saying? And you know that the fall of man, the de-evolution of man, of our minds, when our brains were less gray matter and pure consciousness, we were able to see things holistically, and that is when we were more in touch with our godhood. And the de-evolution of our minds and the reptilian brain, and then the pre-mammalian brain, which formed over that, and then ultimately the mammalian brain, and now we have the neocortex that is growing over the mammalian brain. So it's about to be a 4th layer of the brain, 4th layer of gray matter encasing the brain. So this gray matter that's growing in our brains is actually why we've had to categorize and label things. I'm saying it's why we actually had to start writing and speaking. It's actually why we actually had to start communicating through speech and so forth and so on. So, all right. Philosophies and magic use a similar technique. Everything is put into recognizable pigeonholes. The main system of classification used in magic is that of the planets. Through thousands of years of observation, humans have learned how to deduce cosmic action and reaction by using the planets as a focus, as a filing cabinet. The mistake was made when humans started to believe that the planets, in fact, ruled or controlled things. More will be said later about the planets, but for now, let us return to the Greek gods. The Greeks' entire system is based on the planets and the planetary action, but instead of using abstractions and symbols, the Greeks used personalities. This is very important. For all gods to be really effective, they must first represent an idea, a thought form, or a way of thinking. Secondly, they must be recognizable in human terms. They must be people or superhumans, which can identify with the easiest. Which can you identify with the easiest? Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite, Thor, Thoth, or a 5-pointed star? Notice that I said identify. The gods are personal. You can communicate with them without using complicated procedures. They understand. They get things done. But unfortunately, they also destroy and create havoc. Okay? They can destroy and create havoc when you create this thought form without being aware of it, and it starts to create havoc and destruction in your everyday life. Turmoil, undesired results. Gods in general seem to be quite contrary. This is because humans built the gods around certain ideas and bestowed them with human tendencies. Should we really be surprised if they appear to act with human fallibilities? Meaning they're not perfect. C. Freeman L. told us that stop saying we're not perfect. I'm saying, because if you say so, then it will be. The book Ramtha, the White Book, also says the same thing. If you say it, it will be. If you believe it, if you know this to be true, we talked about this a few chapters ago. the facts. You know what I'm saying? We are transcending the facts just by simply doing what we're doing at this very moment. We are perfect. You know what I'm saying? We are God. You know what I'm saying? We are perfect. I'm saying if you say that you have to die, then you have to die. But if you say and know different, then that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But if you agree to the social consciousness, then you're going to get normal results. When you look around, do you want normal results? What's normal? What's normal? I'm saying unhappiness, complacency. I don't want normal results. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all don't either. That's why we're doing this. I'm saying we're not normal. All right. What started out as a good idea eventually became unsound and unusable. So what started out as a good idea is, you know, with deities and giving planets and deities the attributes of these energies. It started off as a good idea, but then then we got dumb. We taught it to the Albions, went to sleep, and now they're using it against the majority of us that no longer even we view this as evil, wicked. We don't want to have anything to do with it when it's your technology. When you were watching Black Panther, the CIA agent, the little guy, he said, "Is this magic?" And the Black Panther sister looked at him and said, "No, it's technology." Letting you know. Hollywood is going to let you know. Because, see, for magic to work, for you to be subjugated by this perpetual system of slavery that they have on this planet, you have to submit to it. You have to agree to it. Their magic, the Albion magic, cannot work if you are not, how do I put it? Through cosmic law, they have to let you know what they are doing for their magic to work. You know what I'm saying? You have to agree to it, because cosmic law would have it that if you were forced into it without your consent, then their system would fall. Everything that they created would not sustain. But if you agree to it, for example, there's a certain system that's set up with the way that we eat, with the way that the animals are slaughtered and the way that we eat. So being that you agree to this system and you eat these animals that they've been slaughtered in a certain ritual, you agree to it. So now you are subject to the same thing happening to you. And now when the same thing happens to you, cosmic law is not going to interfere with retribution. It's not going to give you revenge, because you already agreed to live. You take part in this system. In other words, if you give it, then you will receive it. So that's why they give you this information. They show you what they're up to, but they might present it in a comic book or a video game or a cartoon. And that is the art of deception. The 48 laws of power. All right, so if it should have been scrapped, gods by definition can only be perfect. We may cover up these apparent inadequacies by saying and believing that we are not wise enough to know the truth, or that the truth may never be revealed because we are not wise enough to understand. Question and search for truth. You will soon see that this is not so. Ideas that originated several thousand years ago are not necessarily of use today. Put a taboo on an apple tree, and schoolboys will still try to steal the apples. And even a relatively inexperienced vandal will laugh. This is the 20th century, 21st century, actually. You know what I'm saying? For better or for worse. The old values belong to old times. And while wisdom and truth are perpetual, these vehicles quite often wear out. When Christianity first came to England, it brought with it the idea of one God, a sort of cosmic overseer. Lesser gods were dispensed with, or rather replaced, by archangels and angels. Things of evil were given the title of demons, who also had an overseer, the devil. The devil was easy to recognize through his works of evil. The problem that most people could not seem to understand was that the devil, apart from the occasional burning and torturing in hell, seemed to have control over all those things that most of us liked. Simple everyday things like sex, money, success, happiness. So everything that we liked, the devil had control over. On the opposite side, we had God, who preached death and damnation to those who did not jump when he spoke. And this God actually admitted to being a jealous God. It was not too strange, really, that on the human front, the devil was winning all the time, or so the church informed us. Yet, who was taking all the money? Who owned vast tracts of choice land? Who lived in splendor and who burned and tortured? The devil? No, the church. Did God stop all of this? No, of course not. Okay. How could this Christian God do anything when it could not get its own values together? A God who incidentally created the devil in the first place. A God who was created by human beings. The idea of one God was not a new one. The early Christians borrowed this from the Hebrews. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all came from Cush. All imperial systems, imperial magical systems. When we talk about imperial, we're talking about orders. So these religions were used as weapons of subjugation. Different families in Cush or Atlantis adopted different religious doctrines and spread out. They went out. They went out to Europe, Indus Kush. They went out to Kemet. They spread out, and they used these religions to subjugate. I'm saying to conquer. Okay, the idea of one God was not a new one. The early Christians borrowed this from the Hebrews. Over the centuries, this man-made God became a devil, a God of confusion and chaos, a God that made unreasonable demands. In reality, this God is quite dead by virtue of the fact that it never lived in the first place. As I said earlier, gods are filing systems that we can contact in a personal way. They do not exist in their own right. They are man-made. They are therefore fallible. Gods are useful. They aid the formation of a belief pattern. They aid the formation of a belief pattern. They aid the formation of a belief pattern, a habit. Remember, as you think, so you are. Or if you can believe, it will surely be. Just try believing that you are going to be much better off tomorrow. It is difficult to believe in your own power to change your life. You feel that no one is going to hear you. You are all alone. Now change the thinking. Up there is a God. Up there is a God. He or she can do anything. All you have to do is ask. Here at last is your own personal genie, and any wish can be granted. Those of you who prefer a gentler image may choose a beneficent fairy godmother. For those of you who prefer a gentler image. No, this is not a silly game or a trick question. It is a way to truth. Really, think about this. You now have a God who cares. So replace the God that we've always known all our lives with one who gives a fuck. He or she will grant any wish regardless. I'm saying this God could be male or female. It could be a fairy godmother. Saying mine is my subconscious. If you seen the XXX video, and I'm saying he was talking to his subconscious. He was in his subconscious. You feel me? He was in his subconscious, sitting in that chair. He was speaking to his causal self. So this is the same concept. All right. This is not fiction. It is absolute truth. Dare you think about this? Why not? Everyone else invents gods to suit themselves, so why not you? Disrespectful? Not Christian? Fear of retribution? Violation of cosmic? Stop. Think. Taboos. Outmoded thinking from the past. The inability of today's gods to exercise any control over the affairs of mankind. The inability of today's gods to exercise any control over the affairs of mankind. Why? Two reasons. Most people do not believe in gods anymore. Those who do tend to believe in some sort of degenerate being who is going to extract a price for their sins. What a way to live. In short, if they believe in something less than perfect, something capable of human hatred. Woo! A sort of spirit guide with power. What sort of God do you believe in? Have you ever really thought about this? Why not do this now? Stop reading and write down a description of your God. Really think about this and about your relationship with this being. Do not leave any stone unturned. Let all your thoughts and criticisms come out into the open. See, this is what we call the dark side. Dealing with the side of ourselves that we don't enjoy, that we don't want to see, the side that we bury, the side of ourselves that we keep hidden, even from ourselves. I'm saying that's the dark side. You go in there, you ain't gonna like what you see, you ain't gonna like what you feel. I'm saying, but you sublimate that. You turn your demons into your angels, for lack of a better description. I want to keep them as demons. And I'm saying they fuck with me. And I'm saying, but I turn all my dark traits, all the fucked up shit about me, indecision, no family values, habitual liar, disloyal, yo, I could go on and on and on. But these are things that I had to come to grips with about myself because someone brought them to my attention. I didn't even know. See, I thought that I was the fucking the art. I thought that I had the art of deception down pat. But nah, because the little things that I did displayed big things. And there was somebody that actually gave a fuck enough to show me that, yo, my nigga, yo, you a fraud. You're anything, nigga. You anything. You a fraud, nigga. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And when the person, I was like, man, what you talking about? And they was like, nigga, boom, bam, boom, 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 bam, boom. I mean, this motherfucker remembers shit. It's like this motherfucker filed away every conversation and everything that we fucking talked about for like a year, and then gave me a character assessment of myself. And I'm like, holy shit. No wonder I'm getting... First of all, I was like, holy shit, nigga, you wrong. Then I went and sat and thought about it, and I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker's right. This is why I've been getting fucked up results all my life. But, you know what I'm saying? This is normal. That's normal. That's the social construct. That's the social consciousness. I'm saying a lot of us didn't grow up with fathers in the household. You know what I'm saying? We were raised by our mothers, especially those of us in you know the stereotypical, the statistical shit, what they say. You know what I'm saying? So we were raised by women. So a lot of us grow up with bitch ass tendencies. Literally, bitch ass niggas. We do bitch ass shit because it wasn't no men around to show us how to be real men. And the men that were around might have been bitch ass niggas too. You know what I'm saying? So this dark side work, you know what I'm saying, it's nothing pretty. But it can be as easy as you make it. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be real with yourself. Stop being fake. Stop faking all the fucking time. Get the results, my nigga. I don't know, man. Let me see if anybody got anything to say. All right. Let's continue. All right. Let us call this list A. Put this to one side for a moment while we progress a little further. Suppose that you could adopt a new God, one much more in keeping with your needs and your beliefs. What sort of God would this be? How would this God react to your request for help? Would everything be granted? Would all your questions be answered? Would you be able to communicate with this God without falling on your knees or making some sort of sacrifice? Do not let your previous ideas get in the way. Hey, yo, son, this shit is so sick. When you cremate the dead, you're sacrificing them to Baal. You know what I'm saying? To Baal or Moloch, which is all the same deity. It's the horn deity that is worshipped today by a majority of these cults, or the church, or which is a cult. We're just gonna call them, we're just gonna group them all as cults. You know what I'm saying? When you eat a cheeseburger which came from a slaughterhouse, which is located on a ley line or a dragon line, you're partaking in a ritual, a sacrificial ritual in the name of Chernobog, or another form of Baal. You know what I'm saying? Because these animals, the way they're slaughtered in these slaughterhouses that are in these locations with the blood and everything, these are sacrifices, daily sacrifices to Chernobog, which is another, like I said, a correspondence of Baal. I mean, so everywhere we turn, we're involved in rituals, whether we know it or not. But whether you know it or not, whether you care or not, people do. So this energy is being put to use. You know what I'm saying? So why not take your energy and create your own invincible power that bows down to you and does your bidding, anything that you ask without wanting anything in return. Just because. You know what I'm saying? But how do you get that? How do you even get that way of thinking? You know what I'm saying? You got to do it yourself. You got to be a person that, you always do what you know is the right thing for you and yours, just because you don't want nobody to pat you on the back. You don't do it because you putting on a show. You do it just because it needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll be able to have a better understanding of a deity. You know what I'm saying? Of a deity that is capable of such actions. But if you don't have that way of thinking in your head, how can you ever conceive of a deity that has that type of thinking? Now we just said that deities are advanced ways of thinking. So that way of thinking is an advanced way of thinking. It's not normal. This is why certain people, their names live on forever. They are immortal because they do more than what is expected. That's an advanced way of thought. What deity would that be? It could be many deities. You know what I'm saying? It could be many deities. It could be a deity that you made up. That's what we're doing right now. We getting to the nitty gritty of this shit. Do not let your previous ideas get in the way. Think about the qualities that you would like. Stop reading. Think about this. Then write it all down. Now, having done this, let us call this list B. Again, put this aside while we continue. This time I'm going to give you an image of a God. Read carefully. This God is above all others and can create anything you wish. This God cares. He cares. He cares. What you care about, you give attention to. Sophia Stewart, the woman who wrote The Matrix, she gave a definition of a soul. She said, a soul is care. Because if you see somebody kill themselves, or if you see somebody die, naturally, some people are going to scream, some people are going to be horrified, but naturally, you're going to have a reaction to it like, even the most hardened of us, it's going to do something, because the soul is created. It's a part of creation. The soul was created. So for something to be created, it is a part of creation. So for it to see another part of creation, which it knows that it is a part of, it's going to be that, you know what I'm saying? I just thought that was real awesome, the way she described her definition of what a soul is. I mean, because that's care. When you look at the Fibonacci spiral, when you look at, like, if you was to cut open a fruit and you see the way the seeds are always lined up in geometrical patterns, no matter how many different apples you cut open, they're always in this geometrical pattern of a 5-point star. Why? You know what I'm saying? That shows care. That shows an intelligence in creation. That care is the divine mother. That care is the dark mother. That care is the feminine principle. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. So this God cares. Whatever you ask will be granted without question. Nothing will ever be refused, no matter how great or small. This God desires only that you are content, successful, happy, and fulfilled. In harmony. Balanced. You know what I'm saying? So we just said that the feminine principle is care. Balance is Mayat. The dark mother holds the galaxies together. The same way she cares for a household and makes sure everything's tidy. You know what I'm saying? So Mayat, balance, care. This is a part of this generative process, this generative creation manifestation process. I'm saying you could create turmoil and destruction and all that, but is that really who you are? You have to know who you are. You might be here you might have incarnated to be an angel of death. I'm saying, but how do you know that? You got to go. You got to get quiet. You got to do the relaxation technique. You got to get quiet. You got to you have to go into your inner temple. You know what I'm saying? You have to communicate with your higher self, with your causal self, with the real you. It's going to tell you who you are. Start listening to those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? It has all the answers. Now, this God desires only that you are content, successful, happy, and fulfilled. Keep this image in your mind. Anything is now possible. It is almost like having a blank checkbook with unlimited funds, my nigga. Unlimited funds. Yo, every day, my nigga, there's some magical shit happening. Like, shit is crazy, man. Yo, this shit is so simple, easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this to be arrogant, but it is very, very easy. If you can have anything that you want all the time. You know what I'm saying? But it's the small things. Habit. The small things. That's how you do it. I had a homie of mine. When we was locked up, he always used to, every time we was out, he would pick up an earbud, a tiny little earbud that people lose. So I noticed him, he always picking these earbuds up every time we're out and about. So one day he stopped, he said to me, he said, hey, you notice how I'm always finding these earbuds? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I pick them up, but every time we come out here, I'm always finding more. I'm saying, so through habit, he created this, he started attracting them to him. He created this type of cycle, this frequency, because it happened frequently. So he created a frequency, he created a cycle, he created a rhythm with these earbuds. What he was doing was, it's like lifting weights. He stumbled across this principle. He started off light. Once you see that it works, then you move forward. Now you start doing it with, instead of earbuds, you do it with money, maybe $10, $20, or maybe $50. You know what I'm saying? You might do it with women. You know what I'm saying? You might do it with a lifestyle. You might do it with, you know what I'm saying? But that's how it goes. Habit. Always doing what you know is right for you. Just because. You know what I'm saying? Don't pick and choose. If you see a piece of paper on the fucking floor when you're walking past, you could be like everyone else and walk past it, or you could pick it up and throw it away. Just because. Just because. You know what I'm saying? So when you do those things with the little things, you're going to do them with the big things. And then big things will happen. Now, you can write anything on these checks. All right? So we're talking about the subconscious mind and its producing abilities. This is how you get it to bow down to you. Because this subconscious mind is in there. It's in the dark side. It's in the abyss. It's in the darkness with all your fucked up traits, with all your demons. It's there. But for you to get it to respect you, you got to get your demons to respect you. You got to sublimate Set. You got to make Set your homie where he want to fuck with you. Like Horus did. You know what I'm saying? You got to sublimate the Monkey King. The rage-filled Monkey King. You got to show him that, oh shit, peace equals power. I mean, once you sublimate them demons, they gonna take you right to the silent observer. Silent observer gonna give you a checkbook. Here, nigga, whatever you want is yours. Unlimited. And you can write anything on these checks. They will always be on it. Now think about the possibilities. Then make a new list. Call this list C. I want you to write down your thoughts about this God. Keep those thoughts totally positive as though it were true. Think about the things you could do, the things you could have. Write these down. How would you feel about this? How would life change for the better? See, these exercises are really important, man. These exercises are important because it helps you with your imagery. It helps you with the ideas and the thoughts. It helps you categorize your thoughts. It helps you file them out. Now, also, when you write things down, you crystallize them, especially with carbon, graphite. You're crystallizing them into the material plane. You can see it now. You see your thoughts. Now, you can, by repetition and reading these thoughts, visualizing these thoughts, you're in contact with the silent observer. Because you're reading these thoughts with emotion. You're reading these thoughts with imagery. When you write it down, you're going to visualize. That's the imagery and the symbols that the subconscious uses, that it needs. When you visualize with emotion. Those emotions is what the subconscious needs to make this happen, to make this a fact. Now, use your imagination. Give it full reign. Indulge yourself. Remember, no limits, no awkward questions, just total freedom to do anything, just to have anything. Now you are in contact with total abundance. Bobby Hemmett, C. Freemanel, Brother Bob, Brother Panic, Asaru Ali Melbey, everyone that we talk about tells us to constantly stay in the abundance mentality. I'm saying abundance mentality instead of the poverty-minded mentality. Stop saying shit like, I don't have, I can't. Stop saying that shit. Stop saying it. First, stop saying it. I'm saying when it pops into your head, catch it and then don't say it. Create a new habit. That'll be a habit. Because you'll consciously recognize it like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Let me say something else. Now you're going to use your imagination to come up with a new phrase to replace that bogus ass phrase with. Now you are in contact with total abundance, your own genie in a bottle. Write this down. Take your time. Now, having looked at God from every angle, what conclusion can we draw from all this? List A shows your present relationship, if any, with God. Your ideas about this God are at this stage not completely your own. Most of these have been given to you by someone else, and you accepted them without question. Any ideas that you could not accept, you push to the side. Usually a game without question. And perhaps you replace these with something a little better. Some of you will have thrown out a God completely, perhaps because it did not listen or grant your wishes. List B raised your sights and gave you more scope. How well did you take the initiative? The question was, what sort of God would you like? Initiative, pro-action, be proactive. Always. If you want a new job, you start doing the job. You just show up and start doing it. Don't ask for it. Don't tell nobody don't say you want the job. Just start doing it. Seriously. You want a promotion? Start doing the job that you want. Even if you're not getting paid for it. Do your job and the job that you want. And watch how it's just going to be given to you. Proactive. Initiative. That's what these exercises are the beginning of that habit. Taking the initiative, being proactive enough to do this little exercise, even though it might seem like your conscious mind is telling you all these things or why, it's a waste of time. Fucking do it. What you got to lose? Especially if you never did it before. To have something that you've never had before, you got to do something you've never done before. Let's go. The question was, what sort of God would you like? Is this new God any different from your own? How great a difference is this? How many restrictions are placed on your life or your relationship with this God? Lists A and B are a monument to negative and narrow thinking, and you will eventually see how this mountain of mistakes has limited your life and your inherent creative abilities. List C is of a different order. Here you were confronted with the total freedom and absolute power. How then did you react? I hope that you really did take the initiative, if only for a few minutes. At the end of it all, we are still here on planet Earth with the same problems and unsatisfactory life conditions. Who do we blame for this? There are only two possibilities, you or God. Let us use the old excuse. God is always right, and we should not question his will. Or maybe it is some sort of karmic debt or fate that is the problem. Did any of you think that perhaps it is God that is wrong? If you did, you would be right. 100% correct. See, this is Gnosticism. If your life is unsatisfactory, then your beliefs in your God are mainly the problem. God is perfect, and we are not to know the reasons, so the established religion, tell us. Yet something is wrong. What sort of God is sadistic enough to cause us to constantly reincarnate with so-called karmic debts without giving us a clue as to what these are? Who is it that wants us to live in misery and will not answer our questions? I will tell you, someone else's God, someone who could not sort his or her life out, so invented excuses. Excuses were wrapped in mystery and called God's will. Real people don't ever make excuses, ever. 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 You're just willing to be held accountable for your actions. I'm saying, and that alone in itself is an advanced way of thinking. Being willing to be held accountable for your actions, that's not normal. That's abnormal. Every time you turn on the TV, it's the blame game. Throughout the whole presidential election, Trump, Clinton, nobody fucking took accountability for nothing. It's always blame, 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 finger pointing, blame. No, here's her fault. And that's the game. That's the spell. That's the spell that they have the masses up under, because you're looking at your role models and all they do is blame and point the fingers. So why the fuck would you be held accountable for your actions? You know what I'm saying? You out here doing all sorts of shit. When the feds grab your ass up, you pointing the finger. Because that's all we see. Everybody talk about not snitching, stop snitching. But like everywhere you look, you seeing finger pointing and blame. That's normal. Accountability, y'all. The excuses were wrapped in mystery and called God's will. People built their own version of a God, and everyone else accepted it without thinking. Let us return to list C. I gave you an image of a totally beneficent God with unlimited power. There for the asking. If this God existed, life would be free from problems and there would be no lack. It is a nice hypothetical idea, but why is your life not satisfactory? Why are there so many unanswered questions? Look at the gods you believe in. They epitomize subservience, poverty, illness, karmic debts, evolution, and other such miseries. You believe in these. You accept these. So they work for you according to their nature. Remember that these are humans' ideas of a God. Now look again at the gods that you believe in. Is it any wonder that things are not as they should be? These gods are abominations, monsters, and sources of restrictions. Dead gods who create death. The only reason you really reincarnate is because deep down you believe that this is true. You believe in karmic debts. You believe in restriction and lack. Believe in these things. Phew. Compare these gods and their associated problems with the image that I gave you. There is a tremendous difference. No karma, no reincarnation, no restriction, no poverty, no misery, or no wanting. There is only freedom and abundance. I gave you an image, a possibility. He gave you the image. Now all you have to do is upload it. No, download it. Now all you have to do is download it. You have the image, work with it, let your subconscious absorb it. You know what I'm saying? Take it into your inner temple. Let it work. I gave you an image, a possibility. Now I will give you the one truth that will change your life if you let it. And it will make your magic work every time. The image that I gave you happens to be true. I gave you an idea, but you reacted to this idea and made it into a personal attitude toward a God. In the search for the real God, you must first reject all the others. Start with nothing and using constructive thought, build up your idea of what God ought to be for you. Any negative or restricted ideas must be avoided. Creativity is the key word. Your God must be creative, not destructive. Using your imagination, you build up a picture of God. You identify with the image, and by belief in this image, you eventually control maximum power. Whatever you believe in invariably comes true. So start to believe in something that is real. It is not as difficult as you think. Like the exercise earlier in this book, start by removing everything. Then after careful deliberation, start to reassemble or replace slowly and gradually. Keep the goal in mind. The real God is within you. Look at the top, not the base. Take it away from a human level. See, look at the top, not the base. Base thinking. Base thinking. That's why baseball with the bases, and when you enter a Masonic hall or government buildings, they have the black and white checker pattern on the floor. These are bases. It's base thinking, dualistic thinking, the realm of duality, the realm of polarity, on, off, black, white, cold, hot, bad, good, win, lose. For someone to win, I have to lose. For me to win, someone has to lose. That's base thinking. So look at the top, because the bottom is crowded, but the top is not. Take it away from the human level. Take it away from base thinking. The real God is all powerful and unrestricted, and so is beyond our limited human concepts. A human will look at a problem and decide that it cannot be solved. A God will always find a way for you to solve it, because it can see more avenues and possibilities than you can. You do not have to sweat and strain to become wise enough to see even a small percent of the possibilities. All you have to do is ask God. There is no point in wasting your time trying to solve something that is outside of your scope. If in doubt, ask your perfect God. This God obviously has all the answers. So this is a method used to contact your causal self. Because you're not speaking to your subconscious. You're speaking to the real you. You're speaking to you on the causal plane. Your subconscious is going to give you access to the causal plane by doing this exercise. By taking that image and working with it subconsciously, it will grant you access to your unconscious mind or causal mind. This God obviously has all the answers. Think about a God in this way and elevate your faults so that you begin to identify with the most powerful being that you can possibly conceive. See, dark side. Elevate your faults. Find out who you really are. Don't run from it. Stop hiding it. Identify it and fix it if you want to fix it. If you feel that it's not working for you, that you don't want to be viewed this way, or you don't want to be viewed this way by ultimately yourself, because that's all that really matters. How do you feel about yourself? So you need to identify these dark aspects of yourself that are hidden away, tucked away, and then you need to elevate them, sublimate them. You need to sublimate them, fix them, in other words, so that you can begin to identify with the most powerful being that you can possibly conceive. You'll be able to identify with this all-perfect God. The results will speak for themselves as your new belief pattern begins to work. As your new belief pattern, energy moves in patterns. As your new energy pattern, belief pattern, your new deity starts to work. Contacting your own true God is vitally important in the creative scheme that magic seeks to reveal to you. The scheme works like this. There is energy, life force, if you like, and it can be used to create. This energy is abundant and without end. There is no restriction in its supply. People talking about, oh, you depleting your life force energy by masturbating or by having sex, by ejaculating. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is abundant and without end. If you believe, then it will be. If you believe that you deplete it, then it will be. Human beings have access to this energy at all times. We have total free choice in the way in which we use this energy. No one sits in judgment except you. Belief patterns help establish physical results. Spiritual plane, emotional plane, mental plane, physical plane. If you see it on the physical plane, it fell through all those planes of existence, but it started in the spiritual plane or the causal plane, the plane that caused it to happen in the physical plane. Things don't have to happen to you in the physical plane by chance. You can make whatever happens to you happen here by doing this work. We will come back to this scheme and its principles many times throughout this book. But for now, we are dealing with belief patterns, and God is part of this. Let us look at the possibilities from two opposing viewpoints. On the one hand, you could believe in and contact a God who will ensure that your magical intentions work. Or on the other hand, you can fearfully utter a few spells from some grimoire. Which is going to work? The former, of course, because you are aligning yourself with infallibility, with unfailing perfection. The other alternative is ineffective, as you do not even believe in what you are doing. You are hoping and wishing instead you should be anticipating. You should be waiting. As a human being, you are creative all the time. You create thought forms all the time. Each thought that you have is a creation that'll travel. You are using energy and creating things around yourself without being aware of the fact. You are creating according to your present beliefs, most of which lie deep in your subconscious mind, away from view. Now, can you see why things go so wrong? Those beliefs are working all the time. They are not your beliefs. You accepted them without thinking, without exercising choice. Your subconscious mind directs power on your behalf, and it will continue to do so until you decide otherwise. It is no use blaming life, fate, someone else, or even God. You accept the belief patterns, and so you get the results, be they good or bad. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between good or bad. It simply acts in the way that you tell it. Fortunately, the reverse works just as well. You change your beliefs, present these to your subconscious mind, and everything changes to your advantage. For some of us, magic is the best way to change these patterns. It helps us use our mind, emotions, and imagination in a constructive manner. Magic leads us to our real potential and inherent power. The magical way is not complex in essence. It is quite simple once you have grasped the basic facts, and these are as follows. 1. There is an overall God who is totally for you, no matter what you are. This God will become whatever you wish it to be. It does not control you or try to interfere with your life. It only supplies those energies which you ask for. Your subconscious mind directs power for you. It takes power from this God and creates whatever you wish. There are no limits other than those that you provide. Once given an instruction, it never fails to carry this out. Your subconscious mind does not understand the English language or any other language, which is just as well. Can you imagine what would happen if every fleeting thought became fact? The language of the subconscious is symbolic and it responds to belief, a very useful safeguard. Your life, destiny, and fortune are literally in your hands. You are totally creative and capable of whatever you wish to be, do, or have. You are the deciding factor in any situation, if only you knew it. Up to now, you have been unaware of your potential and the possibilities. You have been asleep, and now it is time to awake. Look around and decide what you really want, and then claim it as your own. Magic will not only help this awakening, but also provide you with a sensible base and a sound pattern of personal perfection based on true beliefs and total reality. Get to know your personal God, not as some distant, revered, and benign figure, but as a friend, a total giver. Ask and you will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. Who else can make such a promise and keep it? The answer is God, your own real God. As a final thought, most rituals do not work because there is no power and no knowledge of how to contact this power. Countless would-be students believe in words, robes, complex secret formulas, and so on. However, if you do not locate the power source and then connect to it, you finish up with a futile ritual. Your power supply or God is within you, so make use of it. Moving away from the concept of the central and all-powerful God, we ought now to look at another enigma, the so-called higher self or holy guardian angel. Let us dispense with all traditional ideas of shining golden figures who are so far removed that we can never know them. God and the guardian angels always seem to be grouped together while human beings are placed on another level. From one point of view, this may well be correct. Purely human action and reasoning can be classified as a poor reflection of divinity. However, both are necessary in the scheme of things. God awareness works on one level, while human awareness works on another, usually the physical. The relationship is, however, much closer than is usually realized. We are all part of the same oneness. To deny human reasoning and action while praising God is similar to dropping a rock on your foot while saying, "There you are, God. I do hope this pleases you. I am in great pain and I will probably be crippled. See how I am mastering the physical evil which I live in?" I know this sounds stupid. It is, but nevertheless, the same basic idea prevails even today. The cause of this is quite easy to see. Humans knew that they had to control the physical and master their own minds and resultant actions in order to achieve anything. They realized that there was something higher than the physical, something behind the obvious. While they made the prime mistake of presuming that the power behind all this was too far removed for them to contact. Therefore, they believed what they saw and touched and put everything else on a so-called spiritual plane. In order to contact the spiritual planes, humans denied themselves and sacrificed, presuming that this would raise them above the physical to where the gods live. Humans are still doing this. The physical end of the spectrum became over-exaggerated and separated. This is, however, an untrue view. All levels of life are connected and all are reachable. To presume anything else is folly of the worst kind. As you know, if you believe in something, it will come true. Believe in the right kind of things rather than in incorrect presumptions. To return to the idea of the real self, part of you is in direct contact with God's power. In other words, that part of you knows everything and can do anything it wishes on any level. So how do you get to know this wonder worker? Why does it seem so far away? It isn't. People have removed it, just like they mistakenly did with God and power. Your real self happens to be you. At the moment, any similarity between you and this super being must be a little far-fetched, but I assure you that this statement is true. You and your real self are one and the same person. Let me explain. If we lived in a perfect world with no poverty or lack, no wars, no disease, if everything you could possibly think of was exactly right, how would you react? I will tell you, you would be happy, content, positive in mind and action, free from worry, optimistic, and enterprising. In this atmosphere, you would never dream of being defeatist or negative. No, of course not. Why? Because when the environment is perfect, you function perfectly. The existing conditions or facts would help dictate your state of mind. Now take the reverse and have a look at the chaos we live in here and now. It is more than likely that you cannot think positively because on the face of it, it seems pointless. Again, the facts are the result of belief patterns. And these beliefs are based on the wrong conclusions. Fax machine, Shannon Jeffries. Fax machine. Life appears to be rather drab, and there is no hope unless we subscribe to the sackcloth and ashes penances. You, that is all of you, are aware of all levels of life, but you exist for the time being here on earth. You look at the facts, believe these, and because you have power, you make these facts work for you. Your real self is perfect, but you can be deluded by the purely physical end of awareness, thereby causing yourself many problems. Damn. Your real self is perfect, but you can be deluded by the purely physical end of awareness, thereby causing yourself many problems. Oof. By looking upward at God and your higher self, you are using psychology, a sort of carrot and donkey technique that works as long as you do not carry the apparent facts of physical existence with you. This is why you search for truth and question. That's why you question everything. You question everything until you get to the truth. The truth travels in circles. That's why you can read this. You see the same thing mentioned in emotional intelligence. You see the same thing mentioned in success through a positive mental attitude. See the same thing mentioned in the memoirs of Colin Powell. I mean, the truth travels in circles. That's what it's saying here. I'm saying question everything, and your higher self is going to allow you discernment, like Anubis, the discerner. Please remember, however, that this higher self is not external to you. It is another aspect of you, which functions on a different level. So believe in you, in your power, in your many levels of awareness, and in the total perfection that is you. And we also said that each aspect of us is a different dimension of us. Each aspect of ourselves is a different version of ourselves in a different dimension. So you have the aspect of myself that is speaking to you now. Then you have an aspect of myself that is that my girlfriend may see in the bedroom. Another aspect of myself that my children may see. Another. So these are all dimensions, but they're all existing at once, all at the same time. I'm saying, so this God aspect of myself it exists right now. At the same time, I just need to tune into that channel. I need to change the channel so I pick up that picture on my screen. You change the channel by changing your frequency. The thoughts that frequent your psyche. Please remember, however, that this higher self is not external to you. It is another aspect of you which functions on a different level or different dimension. So believe in you, in your power, in your many levels of awareness or many dimensions of awareness. And in the total perfection, that is you. As a whole, that is you. Realize that you are far greater than you think you are, and that you encompass all creation on many levels. You have vast potential. That's what they're trying to do with these. That's what they're trying to do with CERN and this D-wave shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the Albions they're not connected. They're not connected to everything in existence due to calcified pineals and being inorganic beings and created, grafted. They are not connected to the dark mother or dark matter. So they have a secondhand experience. So they have created these machines that are able to do this for them. You know what I'm saying? To extract other realities into this reality through the use of these machines. because these machines are able to do what we do naturally, what we just went through. We do it naturally. These computers or these technologies have been created so that they have the ability to do what we do naturally. And our ability to do this naturally is being suppressed through technology, through transhumanism. See, right now we have the phones like this. We don't use imagination because we have the phones and the computers and the tablets, and we're like this all day. What they're looking to do is the transhumanist movement. That's the next stage, where these technologies will now be integrated into your body. They will become a part of your body, which will make you rely on technologies more and give up and rely on your natural creation abilities even less. Transhumanism. From a physical point of view, however, you seem to be totally restricted. Magic offers you a way out of the dilemma. By keeping in touch with yourself, you become aware of your inherent powers. Restrictions are seen for what they are, imaginary and untrue. Gradually, you learn self-assertion and self-determination, which in short means happiness and fulfillment, no matter what anyone else does. The facts melt away. The new light dawns. The Golden Dawn Society. The new light dawns and life belongs to you again. Remember, you can make anything happen. You have been doing this since birth without realizing it. Now you are becoming aware of the truth. Take the staff of truth, your spine. Become yourself and work your path in your way using creative power as you go. Now we about to get heavy. It's about to get heavy. You heard? Shit about to get real. This chapter, all right? The magical pentagram circle. All right? Shit's about to get real right here. About to give you some real good techniques. Hold on. Those of you who've already done this, you already know what it's about. Now, the magical pentagram circle. This chapter is extremely important, and it is vital that you do not overlook it. We call this erection of the magical pentagram circle. See what they're doing? Man, let me just get into it. You can do this anywhere, on a bus or train, in your place of work, while you are out shopping. Practice as often as you like. Practice makes perfect. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. 5 P's. Apart from being a magical exercise, this exercise is very practical and useful in everyday life. Always remember that the magical pentagram circle is perfect and subject to the laws of perfection and truth. If you are faced with an irritating situation, erect the pentagram circle. Feel that you are surrounded by a magical circle of pure white light. Sometimes this is seen as a blue flame. That pure white light, that's reminiscent of the crown chakra. I'm saying you are safe inside this. Nothing can get through if you do not want it to. Use your imagination or visualize. This shit works, man. You will be surprised how effective this becomes with a little practice and patience. The irritating party will soon get the message and will leave you alone. Facts. If there is some problem that you wish to sort out, do not fret or lose your temper. Become calm. Erect the magic circle and pentagrams, then think calmly about this. Ask for answers and you will get them, often in surprising ways. The ritual of the pentagram is not just a magical exercise. It is functional, so use it often. Now let's go on to the pentagram ritual exercise. Now we will start to develop this exercise by using ritual. For this, you will need one white candle. First, lay out the temple area. Place your single white candle in the center of your altar. Again, you do not have to align your altar with the magnetic points of the compass. And if you are really stuck for space, the central light can just as easily be moved to some convenient space. It is the inner work that is important. The candle is there to help you concentrate. Before starting any ritual, it is important that you establish calmness and as much detachment from everyday affairs as possible. So those are the two exercises that we carried out. The relaxation exercise and the inner temple exercise. I'm saying, clear your mind of all the mundane thoughts. Because you can't enter the temple, you ain't gonna get no results with those fucking false facts swimming around in your head. You got to step outside of the realm of time and the realm of time and space, realm of duality. You cannot work an effective ritual if your mind is constantly bombarded by numerous thoughts. To be an effective magician, you have to control your thoughts. I will show you how later. It is not as difficult as you think. Again, practice makes perfect. Relax and let go as much as you can. But do not strain to remove these thoughts. Remember, peace equals power. If you strain or resist these thoughts, you only make them stronger. It's like lifting weights. What you resist gains strength. Use soft music to help you relax if you like. This may sound obvious, but magical lighting candles, oil lamps, subtle light is also important. There really is not much point in lighting candles if you have 200 watts of electric light blazing away. The effect is completely ruined. See, the single candle represents the inner light. It allows you to visualize the inner sun in the darkness. I like to do my rituals in the closet, in the dark closet with the candle. Saying it represents the inner sun, and me in the darkness represents me in the sunken place, or AKA the subconscious. See, the sunken place is not a bad thing, but Hollywood has led us to believe that the sunken place is a bad thing. All right. The effect is completely ruined. If you do not like a complete blackout before a ritual, here are some ideas. Relax in another room, then go into the temple, perhaps carrying a lighted taper from which to light your candles. You could start with the temple in darkness, apart from a single candle, lamp, or night light that is burning in some corner, thereby giving you enough light to see what you are doing. If you like, before the ritual start, you can always put this out. Some people prefer to keep a constant sanctuary light lamp burning. If you have a permanent temple, do this. When you start a ritual, you are building up power from nothing other than peace and tranquility. See, peace and tranquility is the causal plane. It's the unconscious plane. It is the plane, it is the nothing. It is where the black dot resides, where before, where this black dot, before it thinks, before it contemplated itself and doubled itself, you know what I'm saying, and was able to see itself and then interact with itself, impregnate itself, and create from itself. So before all of that, all of these other planes, beneath it all, you have the nothing, just nothing, no thought. Before God even contemplated itself. So when you're working from a place of peace and tranquility, you're in that space. You're tapped in to the nothing, because from nothing comes everything. Now, by using minimum light before you start and gradually lighting lamps, you are following this idea through on a physical level. You're following it through on a physical level. So if you're applying this technique on all levels, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, the results will work. That's how you get magic to work. That's how you get it to work. You have to attach it on every level. Having achieved a calm state of mind, you will be shown how to ritually erect the magical circle and the 4 pentagrams and put them on standby. When you are ready, stand in front of the central candle facing the quarter designated as east. And I'm saying, so this ritual right here, you're getting it right. You're getting it right. You're getting the imagery. You're doing it on a physical level. So this is a routine. There are emotions involved. There are images involved because you're seeing what you're doing, which is putting you in contact with your real superpowers, your subconscious mind. And now it will be able to conjure this magical circle and the 4 pentagrams anywhere you are, in the bus, in school, at your job. You know what I'm saying? When you are ready, stand in front of the central candle facing the quarter designated as east. Imagine a bright light shining inside you. Then imagine that some of the light inside yourself has transferred itself to the candle flame. Imagine that some of the light inside of you has transferred itself to the candle flame, because when you do this, it's actually happening on the subtle plane. It's actually happening subtly. If you imagine it, if you visualize it, it's happening in another dimension or subtly. Then light your central candle. Pause for a while and realize that this central candle represents your inner subconscious power. Now, imagine that the encircled cross of the 4 elements, sometimes called the Kabbalistic Cross, is extending outward from the center of the candle flame. If you like, you may draw this in the air with your finger extended in front of you. All right. And then it has let me share this with you. All right. So as you can see, the black dot. All right. Now, you're supposed to envision the cross of the 4 elements coming out of the flame. Now, once you do that, you draw this cross of the 4 elements with your finger or your wand in this pattern here. So you start in the center with your dot. You know what I'm saying? Then you move up. Then you come down. Right? Then you move back to the center. Then you move to the right. Then you move back to the center. Then you move to the left. And then you draw a circle around the cross that you just drew with your wand. This is also done like this. You know what I'm saying? Is they doing Catholicism. They don't do that in the church or whatever, but it's the same shit. All right. You may, if you like, draw this in the air with your finger extended in front of you. You could also create the encircled cross in the traditional way by touching the forehead, then the lower. Okay, so they tell you the Catholic way to do it. You could also do this. You know what I'm saying? Do the whole Catholic thing as well. Now, finish by clasping your hands and fingers together before the breath as if in prayer. Use whatever means you can think of to fix the encircled cross in your imagination, if only for a second or two, as long as you are aware that it is there in front of you, glowing in front of you, protruding from this candlelight. You know what I'm saying? Even if just for 2 seconds, see it, know that it's there in front of you. This age-old symbol is the cross of the elements. By constructing this in your mind, you are putting your mind in touch with the elements in a rather special way. It is always best to combine physical action and movement with the imagination in ritual work. It is always best to combine physical action and movement with the imagination when doing ritual work. However, you can erect this in your imagination without even moving a muscle. Whatever works, results is all that matters. The magic circle starts at the east as you trace a pentagram, okay, using the Invoking Star. All right. So in front of you, hold on 1 minute. All right. So remember, in front of you, you had the cross of the 4 elements, right? Coming out of the candle. Now, we're going to construct a magic circle around us using the Invoking Star. The magic circle starts at the east as you trace a pentagram using the Invoking Star. This is always used when opening the ritual. Okay? So the Invoking Star starts here, okay? And it goes to the right. So it's from up to the right. Then this way, then that way, then that way, and then you close it, right? Now, when you're closing a ritual, this ritual, the invoking star goes to the left. So you start at the top and you go to the left as you trace this. I know some of you don't even know how to draw a fucking star. I'm saying you better learn. Okay, so you have the, all right. So you have the invoking star and the banishing star. You start the ritual with the invoking star, which is from the top to the right, and then boom, boom, boom. And then you have the banishing star to close the ritual, which is from the top point of the star to the left. And then boom, boom, boom. Finish it up like that. Okay. When you have traced the pentagram in the air in front of you and finished at the commencing point of the pentagram, okay, so after you've done doing your pentagram, then imagine a central point in the pentagram and stab it in the middle. All right, so you're pinning it, boom, in place in the eastern quarter. So you got the cross of the four elements, you know what I'm saying, in front of you. So you know where east, west, north, south is. All right. So there you go. You pin the first invoking star right there. Bam. Then you pin it, poking in the middle. Then you move from east to south. All right. And you're going to go clockwise. Clockwise, because counterclockwise is something else. That's against the natural flow of energy. You want to go clockwise, all right? When you have traced the pentagram in the air in front of you and finished at the commencing point of the pentagram, then imagine a central point in the pentagram and stab it in the middle. Proceed in a clockwise direction with your arm outstretched. Do the same thing in the south, do the same thing in the west, and finally in the north. When the last pentagram has been traced in the north, still holding your arm with your finger or magical dagger outstretched, your magical dagger, your finger, or your wand outstretched, continue to the east where you started from. So you already drew one in the east, so you turn back to the east. You have traced a pentagram at each of the quarters, the cardinal points. You should now be surrounded by a circle of white light with a pentagram in the same white light at each corner. So you're surrounded by a circle of white light with 4 pentagrams in the same white light at each quarter. The pentagram ritual is now established and complete. To put this magical circle on standby, all you have to do is visualize the 4 weapons: the magical sword, the magical rod of power or the wand, a cup or chalice, and a shield. This implies control of energy. Extend your arms into the form of a cross. Still being aware of the magical circle and 4 pentagrams, imagine in each star the appropriate magical weapon. So you know the sword is in the east, the spear or the wand is in the south. In the west is the chalice, and in the north is the shield. You know what I'm saying? So in each of the pentagrams, you have each weapon placed. Imagine each weapon in each of the pentagrams. Now, looking toward the east, imagine a magical sword suspended in the center of this pentagram. Spend a little time on this. Then face south and imagine a magical rod of power or a spear surrounded by fire in the center of this pentagram, yet unaffected by it. Remember, the south represents fire. You know what I'm saying? Then face west and imagine in the center of this pentagram a cup or chalice filled with magical water. Finally, turn to the north and imagine in the center of this pentagram a shield. The shape and design is up to you. In all cases, the images you saw in your inner temple. Spend some time thinking about the pentagrams and magical circle or meditating. With a little practice, this procedure will soon become second nature. Once you have erected the magical circle and pentagrams, you can proceed with any magical work you desire. The construction of the pentagram ritual is known as an opening and closing ritual, and it should never be omitted. With constant use and practice, your subconscious will accept the master key you are giving it, and then will respond to your commands. Do not skip over this, or you will effectively prevent yourself from obtaining the power that ritual magic can give you. At the end of any magical work, it is important to perform the closing ritual. Quite simply, this is the reverse of the opening formula. On conclusion of any magical work, face the east, see in your imagination the sword disappear. See the pentagram fade and finally disappear from view. Realize that this quarter is now at rest. Now see the circle of light fade and disappear until it reaches the next pentagram, and so on. Continue around the magic circle, closing down each pentagram and seeing the appropriate magical weapon disappear in turn. Finally, see the circle of light disappear at the east once more. Then, standing in front of your central candle facing east, you realize that you are now going back to ordinary consciousness. Magical work is at an end. See the encircled cross above the candle fade and disappear, and the light pass back into yourself. Then extinguish the candle. The magical circle is now at rest. Practice at least once a day for the next 2 weeks. We will move on to the next stage in the next chapter. Remember that you can perform this ritual entirely in your imagination without any arm waving. The movements are from the traditional pentagram ritual and are not a mandatory requirement. Only a suggestion. So remember, in this pentagram ritual, when you're invoking the pentagram, you start at the point at the top and you move to the right. You know what I'm saying? Then you close the pentagram. When you're banishing, okay, the pentagram, you start at the point at the top point, and you go to the left, downwards to the left, and then you close out the pentagram in that fashion. All right. Opening and closing ritual of the pentagram. Without regard to the ritual of the pentagram, you may wonder how it is possible to see this in the mind's eye while imagining something else, such as opening the circle and pentagrams and the magical weapons. In other words, imagining two things at once. It is all a question of memory. See, that's why we work with habit. That's why we do these things every day for a period of time, because practice makes perfect. You know what I'm saying? The more you do it, the more it becomes a habit, the less you will have to the less of a conscious effort you will need to accomplish this. You know what I'm saying? When you first start, it'll be like, you know, the image is fading and coming and going. But the more you do it, the more solid, the more detailed, the more vivid it will become, the imagery. And that imagery actually helps your subconscious mind. I'm saying, because the subconscious works with emotions and images. It is all a question of memory. To imagine several different things at the same time would, of course, be difficult, if not impossible. Fortunately, we do not need to do this. As we build up the pentagram ritual, we establish each part in our memory, moving on through each successive stage, concentrating only on whatever is necessary. For instance, you start with the central light, imagining that it exists. Then your attention moves on to the next stage of imagining the encircled cross, then the first pentagram, and so on. There is no need to keep the image of the central light and the circle cross constantly in your imagination. Just know that they're there because they are presumed to exist and in fact do exist in your memory. We use this and similar procedures in everyday life. For instance, suppose you were standing in a room facing a window. You would see the window quite clearly. Now, if you turned around to face the opposite wall, you would, of course, see the wall instead. However, you would still know that the window existed because you had just seen it. In fact, you could recall this in your imagination because its image is stored in your memory. In a similar fashion, having become familiar with the room, you would know what the room looked like in totality without actually seeing this physically. It is exactly the same with the Pentagram Ritual. Creating your inner temple and using inner seeing. In other words, using your imagination builds up an imaginary room in your memory all through the building up process, all through the building up procedure. You establish each stage before moving on to the next. Therefore, at the pool, you are free to concentrate on this, knowing that the inner temple, doorways, and weapons exist in your memory because you have put them there. At the end of the ritual, it is necessary to perform. At the end of the ritual, it is necessary to inform your subconscious mind that they are no longer established. Damn. Woo! Hence, the need for the closing procedure. Never forget that although the magic circle and inner temple are imaginary and it would be easy to dismiss the entire concept as being worthless, this is not the case. Any deliberate erection of a symbolic pattern will have an effect on the inner mind because you are using what is, in effect, a powerful language that the subconscious understands. See, you're in the abyss. You're in the abyss doing construction. The subconscious is going to respect that. It's going to respect it. It's going to respect it. You in the abyss doing work. You cleaning up house. And I'm saying you taming the beast. You taming the demons. You sublimating your dark side, your shadow self. You making your shadow self respect. You having tea. You sipping tea with your shadow self. You in there building a room. You building temples and shit. Your subconscious mind like, yo, I like this. It's going to give you whatever you want. Especially when you tell it, hey, yo, wake up, buddy, turn on. You know what I'm saying? And then when you done, you be like, hey, yo, you could chill now. We done. You letting it know, all right, yo, like, we offline now. Like, we closing the, I'm saying that's what that ritual is. When you open it up, it's like, yo, buddy, yo, we got shit to do. Wake up. He like, yeah, let's get it. He ready to ride. He a rider. He ready to put in that work. You know what I'm saying? When it's done, you do the banishing ritual. You close down. All right. He back at rest. Whatever it is that y'all did in the circle, it's going to work. Any deliberate erection of a symbolic pattern will have an effect on the inner mind because you are using what is in effect a powerful language that the subconscious understands. It is therefore necessary to treat these symbols with respect. Same way you respect a motherfucking lion. Same way you respect that jigsaw. You know you can lose your life. Same way you get behind the wheel, you respect that car. You know you can lose your life in these things. That's the same way you respect your symbols. Necessary to treat these symbols with respect and practice and to use them often. You should also bear in mind that symbols are not holy or sacred. To worship them is sheer folly. Likewise, they are not meant to be worn as ornaments or lucky charms. People who do so show a marked lack of understanding as to the real nature of symbols. Booyah! All right, so that's it for the day. Okay, hold on. Facts of life, Shannon Jeffries. Facts of life, you know what I'm saying? Word. I say reflection, you know what I'm saying? Good looking. Word, so, you know what I'm saying? That's it for the day, you know what I'm saying? Tune in tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? We get this shit cracking and popping. You know what I'm saying? Lay it down and see what the next step is to, you know what I'm saying, get this shit right. You know what I'm saying? We out here, we getting it right, we doing the work. You know what I'm saying? The Boat of Sun Moon, Brother Bridge. Hey, don't forget to tune into my other channel, Brother Bridge. You know what I'm saying? Brother Bridge, the fax machine. I mean, also don't forget to go ahead and check out abodesunmoon.com and get yourself a body bag. You know what I'm saying? The Kratom body bag. You won't regret it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Get your melanin doing what it's supposed to do for you with my body bag. You know what I'm saying? Die to your old self. Get that body bag. Get right. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for watching. Peace.